Today we're starting 4.4, the slope formula. We're going to be using the slope formula to find slope. I don't know why I have this typed here. Should say 4-3. In 4.3, we describe slope as the constant rate of change of a line. You saw how the slope of a line by using its graph. There's a formula that we can use to find slope. Slope is represented by the letter m. I don't know why it's letter m, but we use the letter m. We use this formula, we need to know the coordinates of the two different points on the line. In words, what the slope formula is. It's the ratio of the difference of the y values to the difference in x values between any two different points on a line. Most of you probably aren't going to write that down. You're going to write the formula down and I'll make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to have the points x sub 1, y sub 1. These sub numbers, they don't mean multiply, they don't mean exponents. They're just labels. These aren't exponents, these aren't multipliers, they're just labels. So I have x sub 1, y sub 1, and x sub 2, y sub 2. Those are my two different points. The formula for slope, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is one of those formulas you need to have memorized that we're going to use over and over again. If we have the points 2, -3, and 1, 4. It doesn't matter if I call this 1 and these 2's. I take y2, which is 4, minus whatever y1 is, over whatever x2 is, minus whatever x1 is. 4 minus -3 is 7. 1 minus 2 is -1. 7 divided by -1 is -7. But I don't have to have them labeled that way. These are just labels. So I could have called this one 2 and these ones 1's. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. -3 minus 4, well, -3 and a -4 is a -7. 2 minus 1 is 1. -7 divided by 1 is, what can you tell me? They're the same. The x1s, y1s, those are just labels. Doesn't matter which one you call which. But you can't mix 1's and 2's. So if I call this one x2, this one has to be y2. We're going to find the slope of the line that contains these 2 points, 2, 5, and 8, 1. I want you to give this one a try. All right, on this, I don't care which ones you call 1's and 2's. So I'll call these my 1's, these ones my 2's. What's my first y value? Or sorry, what's my second? Technically, it doesn't matter. Give me a y value. 5. Minus, what's the other one? Doesn't matter if I call them 1's or 2's. Sometimes you're going to see the formula y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. It's the same exact thing. If I take 5 minus 1 over, now what's the x value that goes with this 5? 2 minus 8. Some of you want to always take big number minus small number. It's not like that. It should be 2, 5, 8, 1. 2, 5, 8, 1. The numbers have to match up. What's 5 minus 1? 4. What's 2 minus 8? Negative 6. Now 4 over negative 6. What number goes into both? 2. Divide by 2, it's negative 2/3. That is my slope. Even if I would have picked the other way, 1 minus 5, 1 matches with 8, 5 matches with 2. 1 minus 5, negative 4, 8 minus 2 is 6. We still get the same answer. The negative on the top, the bottom, or out front, it's all the same thing. Try this one. What's the formula? I know that a lot of you, it's the first time you've ever seen it. The more you write the formula down, the better you're going to be at remembering it. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If you write the formula down, you're going to remember it better. And number two, you're going to see what numbers need to go in there. Give me a y value. Negative 2. I know there's too many negative 2's. Negative 2 minus negative 2. Now I'm going to take, if this was my first one, that's my second one. My first x is negative 2 minus, my second one is 7. I should have put different numbers.
Does it matter which way you put that bottom one?
That's what I'm going to show you here. What's negative, negative, negative? Negative, negative is positive. Negative 2 and a positive 2 is 0. Negative 2 and a negative 7. Negative 9. 0 divided by anything is 0. You either have 0 over negative 9, 0 over 9. Both times it's equal to 0. There is a shortcut method to actually know that the answer is 0. Which ones have to be the same? The top values are my what values? If, I don't want crayon. If my y values are identical, I don't need this work. I just know automatically my slope is equal to 0. It's one of the strict little ones. I have 5, negative 7, and 6, negative 4. Do I actually get an answer for this one? Will I get an answer? Are my y's the same? No, since they're not the same, I'm actually going to get an answer. Find the slope for this one. The formula is what? Again, I don't really care if you call them 1s and 2s. It just matters that they're lined up. Which one do you want to write first for my y values? Negative 7. If I call this one the first y, that one's going to be my second y. Even though it's negative, you still write minus the negative. Over, which one goes with the negative 7? Negative 7 is the 5, minus the one that goes with the negative 4 is the 6. Negative, negative makes a positive. Negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. 5 minus 6, negative 1. Negative, negative makes a positive. My answer is just 3. You need to be careful on the little math. The fact that some of you have 11 on top, you're not being careful with the positive and negative signs. And this isn't something you should have to use a calculator for. You shouldn't need a calculator to do the little math. I mean, if it was something like this, maybe it might be different. Because you guys see a fraction and automatically say, I can't do this problem. y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Watch. You see a fraction problem, you automatically say, I can't do this. I'll call this my first y value. 7/5 minus, my other y value is 2/5. The number that goes with the 7/5 is 3/4 minus 1/4. Now, they have the same denominator, so I can just do the math as is. 7/5 minus 2/5 is 5/5. 3/4 minus 1/4 is 2/4. Now, they do simplify. I am going a step slower, just so you guys know that 5/5 means 1. 1/4 or 2/4 means half. Now I have a fraction over a fraction. What does a fraction bar really mean? Divide. We don't divide fractions. What do we really do? We don't divide fractions. We multiply by the reciprocal. So I take 1 times by, what's the reciprocal? 2. 2/1. 1 times 2 is 2. The slope of this one is 2. With a fraction, it was a little bit different, but if you take your time and go through it, you're fine. Sometimes you're not given both points. You're given the slope, then you have to look elsewhere. So here, I'm not just given points. I have a graph. Now, it was nice on this graph. I labeled the two. I have a line. You pick any 2 points on this line you want. I already have this labeled here for us. I have this point and this point. As usual, I don't care which one you call 1s and 2s. M equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Give me a y value from these 2 points. 2. All right, if this one's 2, the other one has to be -2. So this one is 0 for my first x minus -2. They need to line up. 0, comma 2, -2, comma -2. Negative, negative makes a positive. What's 2 plus 2? 4. Negative, negative makes a positive. 0 plus 2 is 2. What's 4/2? 2. Now, if you remember from the last section, we looked at to find the slope. Didn't we make a triangle? We made a triangle. How many boxes do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many boxes do I have here? Those numbers look familiar. We're doing this without having the triangles and without having the graphs there to actually look at. I want you to understand what a slope means by counting the boxes. You're finding the differences between the x's and the y's. You're finding the differences in the y values. Slope is rise over run. 4/2. Same thing. I'm not given points. I'm not given a graph. I'm given a table. I want to find the slope. I have x values of -2, -1, 0, 1. I have y values as 5, 3, 1, -1. The nice thing about a table, there's a bunch of different ways I can do this. Give me a point, a set of points on here. -2, 5. That's one set of points. Give me another one. 0, 1. To find my slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. My first, or give me one of the y values. 5. Those are x values up here. 5 minus, the other one is 1, over, the one that matches with the 5 is -2. The one what matches with the with the 1 is 0. 5 minus 1 is 4. -2 minus 0 is just -2. 4 divided by -2 is -2. But maybe someone else wanted to pick different points. Maybe someone liked this one and this one. 3 minus -1 over -1 minus 1. Negative negative makes a positive. 3 plus 1 is 4. -1 and -1 is -2, not 0. 4 divided by -2 is -2. What can you tell me? They're the same. Any 2 points I pick, your answer is going to be -2. There's a bunch of different ways I can pair this up. We okay?